Okay, thank you very much for coming in today. And I'll tell you a little bit more about why you're here in a moment. If you could just confirm your name for me. And your age? Okay. And when did you join the Air Force? Okay. Where are you currently stationed? Okay. Excuse me. Okay. Now, I think you know why you're here. I want you to know that you can relax. Everything's fine. But we do have some questions about your sighting. This happened 3 nights ago. Okay. I want you to try and remember as much as you can. I know that you've already relayed some of this information to some people above me. I'm really just here to clarify and just to get some details. Okay. So, you said you were out on a routine test flight. Is that right? And that would have been Wednesday night. Yes? Okay. And you were the co-pilot, yes? Okay. Okay. And you said that your co-pilot had got up to use the bathroom, is that right? Okay. And when they did, you noticed some lights in the distance from the cockpit. You can't be sure, but at least a few miles away. Is that right? Okay. And you also mentioned that these lights began to get closer and they began to get larger. Is that right? Okay. And just remember, everything's fine. You haven't done anything wrong. I just want to clarify your story, just make sure that we've got all the details. Sometimes when people are thinking back and recalling things that happen, they can often remember things later on when asked about it again that they had forgotten. Especially if the event has just happened, a person can be quite on edge and it can be difficult for them to remember. So really we're just sort of just making sure we got everything from you, asking you in a more relaxed state. Okay. You said that there were 3 lights. White, is that right? Yes. And 1 blue light. So there were 4 lights. Oh, there were 3 lights, 2 white, 1 blue. Okay. And they were moving together, keeping at the same distance from each other, so you couldn't be sure if they were connected, but then they separated, is that right? Okay. That must have been quite a shock. Well, there's certainly no technology that we create, or other nations we know of create, to do that, so... Okay, so, what happened next? You said that they split off, then joined back together. and then you found that they were right in front of the cockpit window. And how far away are we talking? You'd say about 20 meters, really that close? Wow, must have been quite an experience. I bet that was quite unnerving for you. How fast were you travelling? About 300 miles an hour. And they were staying with you? Okay. Then you said something even more fascinating. You said that these 3 dots, a ship materialized around them, is that right? So an unknown ship materialized around the 3 dots. Now, are you saying that the dots were connected to the ship? Is that right? Oh, okay, so it's as if they are part of the ship, lights on the front of it, and the ship has materialized off the back of these lights to make a complete ship. So now you can see the ship with the lights on the front, as if it was always one thing. Is that right? Okay. No, that's very helpful, thank you. And as I say, you just completely relax as we discuss this. It's absolutely fine, you've not done anything wrong. Now, next you said, and it's okay if you ever want a break whilst we're talking about this, that's fine. You just relax and completely take your time, okay? Next you said that you could see some windows. Is that right? Okay. And inside the windows you said you could see a number of different beings that definitely were not human, or didn't look like they were. Is that correct? Okay. And how many of them were there, would you say? You said there was 6, 7. So 7. Okay. That's fine. I don't expect you to be able to remember everything, you know. That detail doesn't matter too much anyway. Okay, just gonna get a sip of water. Would you like some water? You're okay. Well, let me know if you do. Okay. Now, is the craft at this stage still roughly 20 meters from you? And it's moving at the same speed you are, so it's almost just locked in a position with you, is that right? Okay. And do you remember hearing anything at all? Okay. So there was no sound coming from this craft. Okay. Now, I want you to try and describe these beings to me as best you can. Okay. So, did they all look rather similar to each other? Yes? Okay. And, would you say that they had any kind of identifying uniform that separated them? For example, you know how different people in the military wear different uniforms depending on their rank. They all just had silver suits on. No identifying features other than that. Okay. And what, okay, let's start with the height. What sort of height do you think these were? About 4 feet tall, okay. Okay. And You said they're wearing silver suits. Were their faces and heads covered in anything? No? Okay. So you could see their faces and heads clearly. Okay, just please describe the shape and size of the head to me. So a large head, larger than ours. Big, oval, black eyes. Okay. What appeared to be a very small opening around the mouth area. Okay. No visible nose. Okay. And no visible ears. Okay. What about hair? Did they have any hair? No hair. And what kind of broadness were their shoulders, the size of their bodies? Quite small. Small and skinny, yes? Okay. So their heads were considerably larger than their bodies in relation to how our heads are with our bodies, is that right? Okay. And did they try and say anything to you? Could you see their lips moving or their mouths moving? Okay, so you could hear their voice. You could hear a voice, but their lips weren't moving, so how could you hear it? You could hear it in your mind. Okay. No, it's okay. It's perfectly understandable that we have this. I've heard some pretty strange things in this job. So, honestly, don't hold anything back. Don't worry about me being judgmental or anything like that. It's, this whole thing, moving around the skies like we do, you'd be surprised at the amount of accounts we've come across that are at least similar to this in some way. So don't worry. But I would urge you to keep this to yourself. So, this is very important. I want you to think about this. Were you able to respond to them with your mind, to the things they were saying to you? You were. Okay. And this conversation, was this in English? It was, okay. What were they asking you? So they were asking you where you were born and your name. Okay, what else? They were asking you if you've ever felt different in this world, perhaps different from other people. Is that right? Okay. And they were asking you if you truly felt you belonged here on Earth. Is that right? Okay. No, it's fine. No, I don't think it sounds weird. It's fine. What was your response to these questions? I understand you gave your name, right? You thought that was weird, but you gave your name and told them where you were born, okay? They asked you about the hospital as well, okay. So what, specifically where? Anything else about the hospital? Just where it was, okay. So after you answer the questions about your name and where you were born, the questions about whether you felt you belonged on Earth and if you felt different from other people, how did you answer those questions? You said that you had felt different from other people, okay? And you said that you didn't feel like you belonged on Earth. And can I just ask you, is that something you've always felt? since as young as you can remember, okay? And what about the connection with other people? Have you always felt slightly different from other people? Okay, and is that always since you were young? Since as young as you can remember, okay. Okay. What else did they ask you? And it's fine, there's no judgment here. So they asked you about how long you'd been in the Air Force, okay? And that was it? And they said they'd be seeing you again. Oh, I see. Okay. No, I don't think it sounds too far-fetched. Okay. Did they say when they would be seeing you again? They didn't say. Okay. Your friend, as you know, has some mild radiation poisoning, but it's going to be okay. Having been checked over yourself, it would appear that you do not have this in any way at all. We do believe that this ship may have caused your friend to become unwell. However, we have obviously noticed that this hasn't happened to you. How do you feel? You see, so the ship not only didn't make you feel unwell, but actually made you feel a sense of comfort. Is that right? Okay, that's fine. Your friend's going to be fine, by the way. Okay. Oh, okay. I'm not sure how to tell you this. It's okay, it's fine. It's just a lot of new information, and it's probably going to be a bit of a shock for you, and it definitely will be a bit of a shock for you, but perhaps we'll make a few things make sense. You never knew your father, did you? Is that right? Okay, so you were raised by your mother and you never met your father. What did your mother tell you about your father? Okay, just said it was a one-off thing. He was a sailor stopping at a port and she never saw him again. Not even sure of his name, is that? Okay. Okay. No judgment here, no. I would tell you to sit down, but you already sat down. Your father isn't a sailor. Wasn't a sailor. I mean, technically your father did come to your mother from a ship, but it wasn't a naval ship. Your father is an alien. Oh, I'm being serious. I know this is a lot to take in, but your father spent an evening with your mother, and you were the result of that. And then your father left. Your mother was aware that your father was an alien, and she told you he was a sailor to protect you because she didn't think you'd understand. Now, it's important, I'm sure you have many questions, but it's important for you to know that your father looks very much like humans do. Humans are in fact seeded from other human-like beings. There are many races in this galaxy that look very much like we do. And your father is amongst one of those races, so if you saw your father in the street, apart from paler skin and slightly larger eyes, You would perhaps pass this off as a strange facial feature of a human being rather than an alien. But your father does have extrasensory gifts, extrasensory perception, telepathy, telekinesis, these things. Even pyrokinesis, the ability to summon fire, create fire from the physical world. Have you noticed any of these? I know this is a lot to take in. Take your time. Have you noticed any strange gifts at all throughout your life so far? You could have sworn that you moved something once with your mind, but you thought you must have been imagining it. Or perhaps not. Perhaps you did. These skills tend to need to be developed and taught. But your father's race does have a much heightened ability. I'm of the belief that all human beings have the ability to learn these things, but your father's much more advanced. Your father's particular race is much more advanced at this, more evolved, if you like. However, you would still need to be taught these things to develop them. You see? A lot of things are starting to make sense now. Yes, I'm sure they are. Your sense of not belonging, it most likely, I should imagine, comes from the fact that you are partly from this world and partly from another. The fact that you feel different from others will also obviously be due to this. You're a very special individual. The reason that you have not become ill from the radiation on that ship is because you are immune to it. Those beings, they're not of your father's race and obviously not of ours. They are particularly interested in hybrids, and so I should imagine they are probably investigating you as they are aware you are a hybrid. But don't worry, you are safe, you are protected, there are other races watching. I know this is a lot to take in, so I think perhaps we should meet again. You have a little bit of time to just get your head around this, and then we can meet again and you can ask me some further questions. Is that alright? Okay. Well, listen, thank you very much for your time, and I should imagine you probably need a bit of time to yourself now. Okay. Well, let me know when you're ready to talk. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.